God damn it. See, I'm trying new headphones, and this is the problem. That's what I literally just said. All right, welcome back to the Daily Grind. Good morning. Good to see all you guys. It's going to be a little different. I'm wearing or using a new set of headphones, and I'm not hearing myself. So that's the problem. I had the mute button. And that's why I like to hear myself in the headphones. But I feel like these make me feel like a helicopter pilot. So I have to, start with them off. God damn it. Anyways, all right, market's green. Everything's looking good. Hopefully you guys are having a happy Saturday. We're going to be watching an altcoin daily video where Raoul Paul is actually on there making a lot of good points. I didn't get a chance to watch the entire thing, but we're going to watch it together and we're going to see what's going on. Let's see who's in the chat and then we'll go from there. Mr. Chris Hanley, good to see you, buddy. Leo Lustig, Steven Cicero, Alvidus, Mumph, Chris Hanley, already said that. Let's see, Mr. Rud Puts, Dakota Miner, what's up, buddy? Yeti, my man. Sarah Pools, good to see you as well. Lil's Indicator, my man, good to see you. Let's see, Regilio, Tim I Am Crypto. Man, I'm so mad I started muted. God damn it. This is going to be a learning curve for sure. Anyways, all right, if you guys have questions in the chat, obviously you guys can feel free to ask this entire time. I do have the links to two videos. Actually, I have Crypto World in the description as well as Altcoin Daily, but Crypto World not really going to watch today. It's pretty much repeating same bullshit as yesterday. Nothing too crazy. All right, let's get into this. So let's check out the market and then we'll go from there. All right, we have Bitcoin 26,548, Ethereum 1636, Dogecoin is at 6 cents, Litecoin 64 bucks. What else? XRP 50 cents, not too bad. Let's check out Crypto Bubble, see what we got on the day. And I'm starting to sweat. This X16Q needs to go outside today. All right, we have, let's see, on the day, Ton. Looks like Ton's up 12.4%. Toncoin, anybody still into that? We have Flow 9.4%. Flow, what is Flow? I don't even know what this is. Rank number 70 by coin market cap. Interesting. Rune, we have Thorchain, which is up a 10.7%. Aave, which is 8.8% up. Kava 8.4. Maker, which is 5%, and IMX Immutable, which is up 7%. Not too bad. What's up, Mr. Max Voltage? Hopefully you had some Raisin Bran this morning. Oh, just blinded you guys. Sorry, my bad. All right, Fear and Greed Index. We are at 43. Pretty much neutral overall. Check out the coins. Top 10 coins by coin market cap. Rather, we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USD Coin, Lido Stake, Ether, Cardano, Dogecoin, and Solana. Litecoin still in 15th. Shiba 16th. Not too bad. Everything's pretty much the same as yesterday. All right. Without further ado, let's dive into this because we're going to be rating Crypto Mikkel after this if he is going live. If you guys have any questions, again, just feel free to ask in the chat. We're going to rip through this. This is the best cryptocurrency investing strategy into 2024. Top altcoins revealed, says Mr. Austin over at Altcoin Daily. So hopefully it's not bullshit, but I do value Raoul Paul's opinion. I know some of you guys don't, but is what it is, to each his own. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's do it.
So that shifts the kind of liquidity cycle as it brings us into 2024.
Today I interview global macro investor Raoul Paul as he gives his outlook for the crypto market into 2024. We discuss the Bitcoin halving, the upcoming US presidential election, Ethereum, Binance, Solana, and so much more. But first, Raoul, what's your take on the crypto market today into this fourth quarter?
So my take has been everything's quiet right now. You know, we've got very little liquidity coming into the crypto market or the traditional markets. You know, we've got the central bank still tightening, so there's just less money around. So even you've seen that the positive narratives, and there's been a lot of positive news in crypto, hasn't really driven price. Because the other thing is, we're not bringing many new people in yet. And there's a lot of supply on the market from, you know, Mt. Gox, government stuff, FTX, and that just weighs on the market when there's no new people coming in. We're seeing it in traditional markets as well. There's just not a lot going on. It's kind of very summer feeling about it, drifting around, not that many people participating. You know, you can see it on Twitter, you can see it in other places. Just engagement in the space is pretty low, but people have forgotten the space is up 50 to 100% this year. You know, it's very quick to forget in crypto, unless it's up 300%, we don't care. You know, so you have to take it, you know, crypto is still the best performing asset class in the world this year, but we kind of feel miserable about it because it's gone sideways or down since April, let's say. So overall, my view is that the central bank is likely to start to see inflation falling and unemployment rising. and economic growth slowing or staying slow. And so that means for the back end of the year, the more likely outcome is they stop raising rates. Okay, that's plus point number one. B, if the bond yields keep rising as they've been doing, they'll probably stop quantitative tightening at some point. That'll be a plus number two. And then if inflation starts falling below 2%, which I think it will do towards the end of the year, they'll cut rates as well. So that's plus point number three. So that shifts the kind of liquidity cycle as it brings us into 2024. Now, 2024 is not only will we see, so all of my forward-looking stuff about inflation and unemployment, rents, those kind of things, they should continue to come lower. So that means the central bank now has the excuse to cut because they need to refinance all of this debt that they've got. And there's trillions of this stuff, and they can't refinance it at 5.5%. Just it's mathematically impossible almost. So really what I think they're trying to do is make it so they overshoot to the downside, so then they can cut and do the necessary things. Also, 2024 is an interesting year because it's an election year. So we tend to get more stimulus, whether it's government handing out money. There tends to be more money around to bribe voters. So I'm very positive on the last quarter of this year. I think it'll be volatile, let's say until October, and then we should have a good run going through. And then I'm very positive on 2024. Now, none of these things will go in a straight line, but generally the first year of crypto spring looks like this. It goes up a reasonable amount, but it's choppy and sloppy and people don't really buy into the story. Then the next year of crypto is when spring turns into summer. We tend to have a good year, not ridiculous year, but a good year. And then the year after that, we tend to have a ridiculously good year. So that's generally how things have played out. I think that's based on a macro cycle. I think that's how it's going to play out this time.
So you being that macro expert, I totally understand what you're saying about the Fed is closer to the end than the beginning. That makes sense. But like the housing market, people are super scared about that right now. It's sort of stalled out. Do you take any of that into consideration, or how big a deal is that for crypto?
Well, it's all part of the economy slowing down and inflation coming down. So if the housing market's really slow, rents start coming down. Rents are like 70% of core CPI. I mean, this is huge weights. So nobody's going to be able to jack up rents, particularly if they start having to cut interest rates at some point. So mortgage payments come down, and that takes a while to feed through. There's about an 18-month lag of this stuff. So as you said, as housing slows down, it means the economy's slow, which means more stimulus. All they want to see is the magic number of CPI going below 2%. Because they also know the forward-looking indicators. They're not stupid. There's like 1,000 PhDs at the Fed. They know it's not like, oh, that surprised us. So therefore, you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they so late raising rates when everybody knows we're pretty much in a recession or around a recession and things have been slow? It's therefore because they want to. And we have to ask ourselves why. And it's because I think they want the excuse to be able to cut much further, much faster than the market expects.
We saw so much good news in crypto probably a month, 6 weeks ago, all in the same around the same time. Ripple winning against the SEC in most part, BlackRock filing for that spot Bitcoin ETF application. So to me, it made sense why we dipped a little after that. It was sort of euphoria, so much coverage in the news. BlackRock or insiders, if they bought any, probably bought 6 months before that. Do you think just like this cool off from that euphoric little local peak, was that just a natural market cycle, or was that any like insider selling into the news?
I don't think there's insider selling into the news. I think, again, if we look at all of those, the Ripple case or the launch of the ETFs or the ETH futures ETF, none of those have been launched. So there's no actual new money coming in. So if you think of it as an economy, we're just still messing around with the same money in the economy. And a lot of those assets have gone down, like NFTs, stuff like that. So we're still waiting for more investment to come in. So what we've done is sowed the seeds for the new investment, but the space hasn't got much capital to put in. Everyone's kind of fully invested in the space. We kind of know the story. Yes, a bunch of people have stable coins and are sitting on cash, but generally speaking, we need new investors, and none of that's happened yet. So then if we step back and say, well, who's the seller? And we know that the government have been selling the Mt. Gox stuff. We know that the FTX stuff has to come onto market. So really, it's a supply issue right now, not It's a promise of future demand, but we haven't got it. So the market has to deal with all this supply.
When a spot Bitcoin ETF finally gets approved, comes into the market, whenever that is, number one, do you think that's going to be before or a little after what the market suspects? And how big will that be for Bitcoin?
So my guess is it's probably before the market expects. I think a lot of people are resigned to the SEC will wait until March, the absolute latest. I doubt it, but who knows? Now, I talk about this a lot. If we'd have launched a Bitcoin ETF last October, there'd have been nobody buying it, right? So price needs to be positive and rising for people to want to buy it.
That's true.
And we haven't seen that yet, not enough. So really, if they launch it tomorrow, could you attract $1 billion of RA assets? Fine, but the government and FTX are selling more than that and stuff. What we really need is, let's say Bitcoin's trading at 40,000, looking strong. You launch an ETF. Okay, then we're talking, well, maybe 5 billion comes into the space. And if it goes up, then you get to 10 billion. And before you know it, it's real money into the space, fresh capital. But right now, I don't, it's not the biggest deal, but it will be as an on-ramp when the market picks up. When we're in crypto summer, we'll look back and go, bloody hell, there's a lot of money in that ETF.
What's your take on these recent SEC losses that they've been taking against crypto companies?
You've got to be pretty brave to take on the crypto space, because if you actually look at it, it is ludicrously smart people. It's kind of the best of finance, the best of technology. You've got people with a mission. So you've got super, super smart people who are mission driven. So lawyers will go into the space to prove a point. Everybody will prove a point, and people will fight to the death if they can afford to. Coinbase,
True.
Ripple,
Very true.
Grayscale, everybody. So as the SEC, you are not taking on some little small token, some small project. You're taking on kind of the best of the best here. The space is very smart and very driven. So it doesn't surprise me they've taken the losses, because these people aren't stupid. That's why the Uniswap thing came through as well. I mean, it's like, well, people built Uniswap. Very, very smart people built it. So it is decentralized and there is nobody to sue. That's the whole point of DeFi. So the point being is a lot of this stuff has been thought about in advance. So it makes me very optimistic of how many losses the SEC will take versus wins. They get wins against people who don't want to fight, like Kraken. They just don't have the money to fight them. But Coinbase is just going to fight them to the death. And that's what Brad Garlinghouse did too. And, good on these people, because somebody had to prove it through the courts and not via coercion.
One of the big SEC unknowns to me is, well, first, they've done something recently that we've never usually seen them do before, which is file a sealed motion against Binance. Usually they're public. They want to send a message. What are your thoughts on Binance regulatory-wise? Is that other shoe about to drop?
Well, it's only a shoe to drop if we don't know about it. Right. I don't think there's anybody alive in crypto that doesn't think Binance is a complex situation that could fall one of two ways. They could end up just being the dominant player outside of Europe and the US, or they could up in a world of shit. We don't know, right? There's no visibility in Binance.
Turn out just like FTX, right? Like, I don't know, something about Binance to me is like 100% shady. I don't trust them. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it, but I don't trust them. I don't know about you guys, but let me know in the chat what you think about it.
So it's no black swan. So if something happened to Binance, really major happened to Binance, the Binance token collapses and Binance economic model collapses, you've got to ask yourself, okay, what would that do to price? Yeah, it'd be bad. How fast will it recover? Well, better, because you cleaned up one of the biggest issues in the space, because people don't know the uncertainty. I don't know either way whether Binance is good or bad, but it's the lack of transparency. So I think overall, it's just not the major shock. The other thing I would ask of Binance is, look, in a very geopolitical world, who's the underlying supporter of Binance? It's probably the Chinese state. who's the underlying supporter of Coinbase in a broader picture? Who would the US prefer to own the Western world in crypto? Coinbase. So it's kind of like, I think it's also geopolitical. And so that's one of the reasons I don't think Binance would likely go under, because I think it has a lot of reasons why the Chinese state and others would want it to operate.
We've just seen Visa integrate the Solana blockchain into their pilot program of blockchain transactions. Something I remember is we had you on at the very beginning of the year when markets were really depressed, and you were very public that you think Solana is going to be one of those best performers because everybody thinks it's just going to zero.
Do you guys remember that? Actually, I remember that. I remember him saying that he was very bullish on Solana, and nobody was bullish on Solana at the time, which is kind of interesting. And then the whole Visa news came out. So this is a good question.
Why do you think Visa chose Solana over those other blockchains?
So I observe the space, kind of try and step back from it, because too many people get too involved with what they like because they like it and they're part of that thing. But I just observe Solana, and I think I've mentioned in the show before, is like, I see Tolly as a thought leader. He's accepting of others around him. He builds bridges, doesn't destroy them. I see a very engaged developer community, and people are really, really passionate about building their ecosystem and building their technology. So, and there's a lot of people who use it, and there's a lot of public awareness of the chain. So why Visa using Solana? It's because it's fast. It's fast. It does a good job. It's not Ethereum. It's different to Ethereum. And even the way that Tolly has been talking about, could Sol be a layer 2 on ETH? Or, how do these worlds integrate? Just shows that, for Visa to make a wrong decision is not that easy, because things can be bridged, things can be interoperable, life can move on. So, I've just been observing that, and that the Solana space has not put a foot wrong for a long time now, just when everybody had maximum fear and hate over the space. Now, also, you're getting rid of the FTX overhang. The thing that people didn't like is that FTX was such a big owner of, well, that goes as well. So for me, it's still it's a great story. It's still probably the best major story in the space outside of Ethereum, because Ethereum's the big daddy. But if we're looking at the next stage down, where's the next altcoin that has relative security in it? You're not taking a wild guess. You're not saying, yeah, helium's going to go up 1,000x. You might be right, might be wrong. But Solana, if the space grows, will Solana do well? Probably. It's a smaller chain, so $100 of capital in Solana will move the price more than $100 of capital in ETH versus $100 of capital. So its liquidity drives it higher, and the higher it goes up, obviously, the more people are interested in the chain as well. So,
are you guys bullish on Solana? Does anybody have Solana in this chat? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys have Solana. If you don't, then you don't have to answer, or just put a 2 if you don't. But I don't know. I mean, the whole Visa news, personally, I think it's kind of bullish.
It feels the right thing. Now, it doesn't mean I'm right.
To bring in a new bull market, to bring in new money into the system, markets always need narratives. For example, in 2021, NFTs, play to earn, huge narratives. Besides the Bitcoin halving in 2024, what do you think are going to be some strong use cases or narratives that people are going to get excited about?
I think it's going to be the applications layer. It's what can you do with NFTs that is not monkey JPEGs or fine art? What else could you do? How does ticketing work? How do these broader use cases? How's the financial system going to integrate? We're seeing lots of noise from the financial system. The two big parts of adoption for me is the financial system and brands and culture. So the financial system, we know they're sniffing around. Every single investment bank, every single asset management firm, London Stock Exchange has just announced that they've got a group working on tokenizing securities. What people want to do is get securities on chain, because it's a faster, more efficient, capital effective way of doing things. So I think that's what they all want to get to. So that's huge. That's trillions of dollars that flows through those markets. The other side is brands and culture and that kind of stuff. So that's sports, entertainment, fashion, luxury, that kind of stuff, plus music. Those are the big cultural pillars of our societies, and they have a lot of opportunity to use this. And we're seeing it from everybody from Starbucks to Nike to Adidas to Chanel to, Balenciaga to Mercedes-Benz to, so I think they're all trying it, testing out things. But if Formula One would get it right with NFTs in some sort of kind of cool format that's not just an NFT, but gives you unlocks and does different things, well, there's a 1.6 billion Formula One fans. What happens if football got it right? Soccer. There's like, I don't know, 3 billion fans. So these things are massive. So it's those two that I've got my eye on. What those applications are going to be, I don't know. Are we ready with all of the wallets and all of the basic stuff that we need? We're getting close. Not quite there. It's still a pretty crappy experience. But a lot of people can abstract it away. Like Ticketmaster have issued more NFTs than anybody in the world. And nobody knows this. They've issued 30 million NFTs because their wallet, the Ticketmaster wallet that you get when you go to a gig or you go to a sporting event, that ticket is actually in a Web3 wallet. The ticket's not an NFT, but they drop NFTs into your wallet. So, hey, thanks for coming to the concert. Here's an NFT memento.
See, that's kind of cool because some people like to do like that scrapbook and shit where they would like just, clip the ticket and like, paste it into a book and save it for a keepsake. But I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a cool thing. But man, NFTs, they have such a better use case than all this bullshit that they're using them for now. I don't know. It's weird.
And they're building a social graph out, right? This is clever stuff. The scale of what Starbucks are trying to do with their loyalty program, interesting. We've seen other airlines look at loyalty programs. So this is what I think it is. It's when it becomes abstracted away. We're not talking about what chain it's on. We're not talking about, 10,000 NFT collectives. I think they were just the proof points en route to something much, much bigger.
And by the way, both Starbucks and Ticketmaster, I believe, we're not asking what blockchain they're on, but I think they're both on Polygon. Which is obviously works with Ethereum, all part of the broader Ethereum ecosystem. Looking into 2024, what's a prediction or an outlook you have for ETH?
I don't know. I'm so scarred from trying to give outlooks, and then it becomes this obsession that people want to beat you with. So look, I'm very positive. Obviously, I think we go well through new all-time highs. I think the whole ecosystem of crypto, we go from 425 million users where we are today. I think the end of this cycle will be 1 billion users by the kind of use cases we've talked about. Don't forget, we've got CBDCs, stable coins. There's a lot going on still.
It's a little over 2x of users that he's saying. I think Ethereum, I think it'll get to 5 figures in, I don't know, I'd say by 2030 for sure. I don't see why it wouldn't. There's really no reason it wouldn't, right? I mean, there's so much stuff that runs on Ethereum, and also like the Ethereum ETF, right? If they do end up going through with a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, like no chance it ain't gonna be freaking, you know what I mean? It's not gonna blow up. Let's see, sustainable crypto. Have you mined directly to Tangem? Yes, I'm mining Octaspace right now with this X16Q that's hot as shit right next to me. Just heating up my whole studio. It's terrible. That's why I'm like dying down here. But yeah, I'm mining directly to the Tangem wallet. It works fine.
If the entire space is going to grow 2.5x in number of users, well, market cap of the entire space is 5 or 10x. So you can figure it out from where that is. So yeah, look, I'm just very positive. And then let's see how people value layer 2s in this. We don't really know how value 2s accrue as much value. Do we have to have a massive amount of transactions? In which case, then you need stuff like Ticketmaster with millions and millions and millions of transactions to drive value to those chains because they batch them and then batch them down to ETH. So look, it's super fascinating. But yeah, I don't see anything different this cycle than we've seen in other cycles for any particular reason.
What's your view on Coinbase's base? Speaking of L2s, have you bridged to it? Are you on Friend Tech? Any of that excite you?
No, I'm just not the guy who's going to do that stuff. I get it and observe it, but I'm just, when you're going down such small use cases, when you start to tell a normal person, well, you need to set up a MetaMask to get ETH and then bridge it into Base, and then you can do. It's like people are like, you're talking to 20 people in the room at that point of a room of 10 million people. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, the Coinbase people know that. They're not stupid either. They're letting the community figure it out, test out an application layer like Friends, other stuff. So it's good. I think it's a net positive of the space. I think Coinbase is just a really good organization.
More of a big picture question, not necessarily on any specific protocol, but what is something you learned in 2022 or 2023 or 2021 that you're taking into the next bull market? For example, with me, and again, this was more of just a reminder. For me, take emotion out of investing, meaning when Coinbase is IPOing and it's euphoric, or FTX is collapsing and there's blood in the street. Again, stick to the plan, take emotion out of it, and think of the long term. What's your investor's thesis? What's something that we're reminded of, or just taking into the next bull cycle?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if he was into Coinbase stocks and stuff. And how many of you guys thought this background of Raoul Paul, however you're supposed to say his name, is a green screen or not? This is actually his studio. I legit thought it was a green screen like this entire time, but he does reference this little NFT in the back corner at some point.
I had that thesis for this cycle. So, having been around and see a few of these cycles, I wasn't that fussed by it. Nobody likes it, obviously, but, you just think, well, great. If I've got cash, then I can buy at the bottom of the big uptrend, and, I'm just going to compound over time. So I think it's difficult because we all learn lots of different lessons as we go, but are they applicable this time around? It's like before, it's like, I don't really know what NFTs I could buy and how to get that right. But then I've continued to buy NFTs. So I don't know if I've learned a lesson there, or I just want to prove out the thesis that NFTs are lagged assets, and as the ecosystem grows again, more money comes in, then NFTs are like trophy assets. It's really interesting to watch the chart of Rolexes and NFTs. They're like one for one, because nobody's got any spare cash right now in the real economy or the token economy. So these things kind of grind lower because people haven't got money to buy trophy assets. I think the one thing I have done is, last time around, I tried to put a basket together of smaller tokens that were interesting to me. That last time around, whether it was the avalanches or whatever it may be, I just held a basket and thought, let's see if that worked. Didn't really work, actually.
Does he actually say which altcoins they will be? I wonder what they are. Avalanche obviously being one of them. I wonder what the other ones are. Guess in the chat, unless you guys already know.
I was surprised. Didn't really work as a strategy. So I'm more concentrated than I've ever been, and I'm quite comfortable with that. Just saying, listen, I'm going to stick with what I know. Now, there might be something that I find that I really want to go, but I'm not going to FOMO into this stuff. I mean, I didn't do a lot in any of this stuff, so it wasn't very costly, but it distracts you. When I look at who made the real money, it's the people who made the concentrated focus bet and got it right. Or if they were getting it wrong, got out, switched their thesis fast.
And you're a punk holder, correct, for NFTs?
I'm a punk holder, an ape holder, a bunch of art NFTs, an MFA.
That's when he shows it.
Rex guy that's behind me on the.
He talks about it.
There you go. There's the Rex guy.
Nice.
I swear, I thought that was a green screen this entire time. Like, why do you have a barber chair in your office?
So that's my token frame, so it keeps rotating. So I got a whole bunch of NFTs.
And that's crazy. Does anybody know you could do that? Have like a frame with all your NFTs like flashing across them? I mean, I don't understand what the difference is between like pictures you steal off the internet and you put them on a USB and put them on your screen, but that's besides the point. I didn't even know you could do that.
From fine art and photography to AI stuff to culture like Rec Guy.
And what makes you, in as simplistic as you can, still bullish in those some blue chip, some newer NFT collections when markets are depressed right now?
So because assets lag the economy, so we talked about in the beginning, hey, house prices are still falling. Yeah, because it lags the economy. Secondhand car prices falling. Yeah, because it lags the economy. Rolex watches falling. Yes, because it lags the economy. NFTs falling. Yes, because it lags the economy. So you're at this point where it gets very interesting, where, you know, a punk is likely to do very well from around these levels, or maybe Bored Ape's got more risk in it. You know, I think of a punk like Bitcoin and Bored Ape more like Ethereum because it's expected to build some sort of network effects on it. The fine art stuff, I mean, that barely went down. I mean, it went down a bit, but, you know, the buyers all came in. So you could see that there was a real demand for the art side of the equation. So, you know, to be honest, I'm probably making the same mistake that I did in the crypto market last time around, because I got a reasonably broad basket of stuff that I'm interested in. Will I get that right, or have I made the wrong decision in doing that? I don't really know, because I'm not much of a trader, so I'm a buy and holder, and maybe NFTs are more about trading, except the more trophy assets that, you know, as soon as people start making capital gains in crypto, they all want to buy a punk, or they all want to buy a Fidenza.
You need a write-off.
Or they all want to buy an X copy.
That's
I mean,
why.
we're all the same, right? We want to flex. We're humans.
For sure.
Like,
I want to be a member.
That has nothing to do with flexing. That has everything to do with writing it off, because you don't want to be caught and just give it to the IRS versus just buying something that you could in the space. Pass the money to the next guy. He can pay taxes on it. That's how it goes.
Of the club. Yeah.
Yeah. We want to buy a nice car so we can prove that we've got status. You know, we are ridiculous as humans, but that's what it is. And we're not at that stage yet. So this is much like 2022 was in crypto markets. It's like everybody's giving up. The whole blur thing has screwed up the market. Everyone's being dumped on. No projects can get off the ground. Everyone's getting angry with each other. I'm like, yeah, we saw this last year in the main crypto market. And these are the signals you should be looking for to find entry into stuff. But
Raul,
the difficulty with NFTs is it's hard. You know, is my rec guy going to do well or not? Is my X copy? I don't know. And there's such a broad range. It depends what captures the public's imagination.
what's new with Real Vision? You were telling me off camera that you're having a new platform.
Yeah, so Real Vision, people knew us like our job's to democratize the very best financial intelligence. We help people in that journey. We created the long form video content in finance. Didn't exist before Real Vision, you know, and we have written research and that kind of stuff. But we've been over the last year building out an entire platform experience. So that's pricing, charting, portfolio management tools. We've got AI embedded where it'll go through the transcripts of the video. You can ask it questions, explain this to me, make me bullet points, explain it like I'm five, do all sorts of stuff to really engage in content when you don't understand it. So somebody may hear me talking about something on this. You could just go through the, highlight it in the transcript. It'll explain it to you. And then you can ask it more questions like, what does that mean for me or whatever? So really trying to help people further in that journey, because what we decided is that we think there's one kind of universal formula for life or success, and that is knowledge times tools times network equals success. So it's great to have knowledge, turning information to knowledge. A lot of people just see information and try and act on it. Knowledge is understanding what that information is about. So we have that journey in Real Vision with the education side. The tools is now giving you the tools to apply some of this stuff or further enhance it, whether that's pricing, charting, the basic stuff, portfolio tools, or AI. And then the network, we built this whole kind of network platform where the tens of thousands of Real Vision members around the world can see each other on this kind of spinning globe, connect with each other. Hey, listen, I'm in Spain this week. Where should I go? What should I do? Or, hey, I'm interested in this thing. You know, and some of those are token gated. Some of those are membership gated. Some of them are for everybody. So we've created this kind of global network because the people in the Real Vision network are amazing. So that all launches to our members next week in a phase launch and then goes to the public. So people should look out for that because there's a wait list currently. You can't even sign up for Real Vision right now as we roll this out. But for those who do go to the wait list, so go to realvision.com, join that wait list, and there'll be special offers for people who are joining it, and you'll get first dibs at getting on the platform.
I'm going to put that link down below in the video description. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, you'll love it. And one more thing is I'm starting my own YouTube channel, part of Real Vision, but just of my content that I think your viewers like. It's called Raoul Pal, the Journeyman. So look at it on YouTube.
The journey,
It's
man.
not fully live yet, but it's about to go live. There's content on there already, but it's a new series where I discuss the kind of my journey into the nexus of macro, crypto, and technology, and where I think the world's going. So, I'm just putting together all the smartest people in the world to help us think through the opportunities and the risks of where we're going.
That's awesome. People clip so much of your interviews and put them on YouTube anyway. Might as well do it yourself.
It's like, might as well do it myself. Might as well. So Raoul Pal, the Journeyman on YouTube. So you can sign up for that.
Link down below. I wanted to ask you, best for the average retail investor that's still in crypto. He's still here, or she. What's a piece of advice you would have for them as we await 2024?
Don't get caught in a narrative of some small token because you feel like part of the community and you don't really know how it's going to do. Unless you really have true insight into demand, network activity, the things that really drive value, just keep it simple. Keep it to the top 5, something like that. Just don't overcomplicate. I see so many people on Twitter who are so entrenched into a token, they have no idea whether it's going to work or not. And it's like, you're in one of the biggest trends of all time. Just don't fuck up. just buy the basic stuff that you should buy, and maybe have your degen money, 10% of your money on the side to say what an amazing trader you are. But don't miss the big picture, because you will be so angry with yourself if you miss it.
Like buying Bitcoin now, buying Ethereum now while things are low. I don't think he's wrong.
What are your thoughts on the Bitcoin halving of 2024? Is it priced in? Is it still a huge deal?
So I think the Bitcoin halving is actually to do with the macro cycle. It's the debt refi cycle that happened in 2008. In 2008, we had a great reset of debt. What happened is every central bank, major central bank around the world said, right, nobody needs to pay interest. Interest rates are 0. Okay, that was fascinating. Then they kind of agreed that nobody was going to pay off debts, so they just keep rolling them. And what they did is, back in 2008, they all issued debt between 3 and 5 years. That kind of 4-year midpoint is the halving cycle, because Bitcoin launched at the same time. So they're coincidental. Now, maybe it's one of the reasons Bitcoin can outperform because of it, but really the cycle is a macro cycle, which is really important for people to understand. But you can still use the Bitcoin halving cycle because it's the same timing. So it makes no difference. You don't have to over-intellectualize it. It's just like, yeah, generally 2024 should be an up year unless something dramatically has changed.
And like you mentioned earlier in this conversation, presidential election in the US is happening. It seems for the first time in history, Bitcoin, crypto, is going to be a hot button issue. What are your thoughts?
It's a buzzword for them because they want the extra votes. That's all it is. I mean, do you honestly think that most of these guys are gonna, the guys that are into crypto, right, in the election, like running for president, do you actually think it's going to matter after they get elected when it comes to the whole crypto thing? At least I hope so, but I doubt it. They're using it to their advantage to capture or captivate all the extra votes that are in the, the market right now, that people that are into crypto would gear towards versus going the other way. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's strange to me.
Yeah, I agree. We're seeing a lot of the non-core candidates lean into this audience. Now, you've got to be cynical. They're just buying your votes, right? They're telling you what you want to hear because they want to
For the record, I did not hear this part of the interview, but that legit, they're buying votes. That's literally what I think is what's happening.
Your votes.
Is what's happening.
But we're seeing it on the left and the right, that there's a leaning into crypto to capture that voter audience who are single issue voters.
100%.
It's a good thing. Net, we know that the political tide is turning. So we had the massive pushback, and then the tide is going back again as the system pushes against it. So, I'm very encouraged by that. It was very frustrating to see the US operate in the way that it did versus other countries who've done a much better job of this. But it feels that maybe the political system will force them to change.
When he says versus other countries, he means every other country.
And, just stuff like the BlackRock ETF and what happens with the ETF, stuff like that. These are net positives, particularly for 2024.
Yep.
In our final 10 minutes, I actually want to zoom so far out, get out of crypto, just talk about you, life advice, success, But before all that, final thoughts on cryptocurrency, your strategy into next year.
My strategy is I did most of my buying last year. I never sold a single thing. The idea was the journey I've learned since 2012, 13 was if your thesis is long-term, stay with that. But then in these, if you think of that logarithmic trend is when we get these down cycles, the macro down cycle or the halving cycle, that's when you add and it compounds over time. So
he's 100% right. That's 100% right. Don't freak out. Have a long-term goal. Purchase and hold, and just stack on top of what you already have. Don't sell it freaking out and then overall lose out. Just stack more. Just stack more. That's it. That's all you can do.
That's all I've done. Now, when I've got more cash, I'll probably still add a bit more, but that's my main thesis, and I'm just sticking with that. Just keeping it super zoomed out. As you said, keep the emotions out of it. Ignore 90% of the news. Observe it, but don't feel part of it. That's a really big thing to learn. Is Binance going to go bust? Is that going to? None of it matters. It's just all that does is change the path of that. Does it go down and then up and then down? I don't know. But what's the probability that the space is significantly higher in 10 years, knowing what we know, knowing that the financial system wants to use it and all the brands that want to use it, and that the central banks want to issue central bank digital currencies and stable coins are being adopted around the world? The probability of this being much higher is extremely high. Just focus on that.
For this next question, let's take crypto out of it entirely. I just want to learn about you. If you would, finish the sentence. I became successful when I understood blank.
I don't even know what success means.
I was just going to pause and say he asks everybody that, but for him to say, I don't even know what success means, that just made me laugh. I apologize. Yeah, pocket change. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. The virgin Bitcoin versus Bitcoin that's like sent around. There's reasons to want, brand new Bitcoin, but all right, let's hear what he has to say.
So I would say I became successful.
All right, at least we know this wasn't like planned questions, and he actually answers them off the cuff because he's legit thinking about that. It's kind of funny.
Path to success, when I started to try and understand why people think, not what they think. That is the game of markets. It's the game of life itself. Why is somebody angry with you? Normally, it's something that they've got that's being questioned about their own self-identity. It's usually not to do with you. And learning that why stops you getting emotional about stuff, and you become more analytical about stuff. And you can step back and observe everything going on. And that helps you in your journey of life in every way, in how you operate with people, how you run a business, how you deal with your parents, to the opportunities that come your way. So I found that is a really, really powerful tool.
What's one piece of life advice that you would give your 20-year-old self if you could speak to him?
Buy Bitcoin.
I wouldn't have chosen a different path. Could have been more successful, could have been less successful. The advice I would give to any 20-year-old is go see the world. Get out of your comfort zone more than you possibly believe. If you're not finding yourself lost and scared in a city in the middle of nowhere, in a language that doesn't speak, or in a jungle thinking, am I ever going to get out of it? Or in a desert, or up a mountain, then you'll never learn about life. That meeting different people in extraordinary circumstances and testing yourself is literally the biggest education unlock of all time.
This next question, you may make fun of me and say this is a dumb way to think about it, but just for fun, again, if you were that 20-year-old that could take on more risk, what would be the easiest way to go from $0 to your first $100,000?
Okay, so I need to go back to when I was 20 years old. So that's
but today.
Oh, today.
Yeah, yes. For the 20-year-old today.
So
Hmm.
it's twofold. You know, generally as 20 years old, you don't have enough money to make money from your investments. So income is
True, too.
king. Figure out how to make income. And from income comes everything. There's a whole generation now thinks it's all about passive income, which is bullshit. There's no such thing. You know, you end up with an Airbnb of which everything keeps breaking. It costs you money. And then, you know, there is no passive income. Go out, figure out ways of income streams. And then when you've got income streams that exceed your cost of living, so keep your cost of living low for as long as possible, you can then invest. And then if you're young, you invest in the longest duration asset. So that's at 20, it's like crypto, technology, those kind of things. It's like you can take the risk. You've got an income stream, so you're safe. And then for me, it's a path that's not most obvious for others, is then have some goals of where you're going. So I always had a future vision of myself. Now those things change and shift around, but somewhere that when you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're thinking, this is why I'm doing this. This is where I'm going. I find that really helps. And then to take lifestyle profits en route. So for me, that is when I first bought a house that I owned outright, I knew I could, and it was in Spain. I knew I could work in a bar in Spain and the world could burn and I would have a house and I'd be absolutely fine. The sun would shine 300 days a year. The olives would grow outside and the oranges would grow and life was pretty easy. That is such an unlock, because then from a place of security, so income's the first security, then somewhere to live, which is, I know it's expensive these days, but it doesn't have to be in the country you live in. You could, you know, buy a shack in Nicaragua, cost you 100 grand, but it's yours. And you can work with a laptop from anywhere. So, okay, these things are game changing, because once you've got security of income and security of life, you can take as much risk as you want. And then the journey becomes fun.
Final question. What's a book or maybe a podcast that you would recommend that you liked recently?
God, I read so many books. I think everybody needs to read Homo Deus. And I know I've recommended this for a while, but a lot of people haven't. If you want to understand what's happening with AI and robotics and where this is all going, what it actually means, Homo Deus by Noah Harari is a really, really, really important book. It's the follow-on to...
Has anybody read that? I've never even heard of it. Homo Deus?
Sapiens. So that is a great book. If you want to understand the world of finance and kind of some of why we got to where we get to, there's an amazing book called Lords of Finance by Liaquat Ahmed. That's an extraordinary book about what happened in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, I think. It's just really, really, and it's a great read. It's a great read. So there's two books. One is the future, one is the past.
Raoul Pal, thank you so much for joining me. Links to your stuff are down below. Final thoughts for the Altcoin Daily Army.
Look, I know everything feels either dull or boring or it's not happening. Don't force the narrative. There's a reason people use the terminology hodl or hold. It's for this. It's like, don't degen just for the sake of it. Stay with the big picture. You know where you're going. If I ask anybody watching this, what is your conviction that Bitcoin or whatever is going up a lot over the next 5 years? My guess is the answer would be, yes, of course it is. But when you ask them, is it going up or down next week or the next month? You know, the views splinter because people have no idea. So why even play that game? You don't need to play that game. And if you need to do it because you love a bit of gambling and adrenaline and you're bored, I can see people trading meme coins or anything just to get some adrenaline back into them, because we all live on adrenaline in this space. Just do it with 10% of your money. Just put the rest aside on your ledger and just leave it. And then you can go meme-tastic or NFT crazy with the rest of your wallet.
That was a very good interview, actually. That was a very, very good interview. What do you guys think about that overall? Oh, man. These headphones, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping these things, man. I don't like the whole helicopter pilot look. It's weird. It's weird to me. And they're kind of hot, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Well, it's hot down here, so I guess it doesn't count. But overall, that was a very good interview. I'm very I don't know, I'm happy we watched that, to be honest. And yeah, he was 100% on point. You have literally nothing when you're 20 years old. Nothing. You have to work your ass off to get whatever you want. And then yeah, that's it. That's it. You have no money to invest in. Oh, actually, you know what? My wife actually asked in the chat. She wanted to know virgin Bitcoin versus the just regular Bitcoin that's being traded around the space, right? So virgin Bitcoin, the reason people want it is because you can't trace it back to any bullshit, right? Like it was never, say, like funneled through like a shady exchange like FTX, and when the government goes to seize Bitcoin, they're gonna trace it all the way back and find out whose hands it's in now. You know what I mean? There's a risk there. That's why BlackRock and all these big companies are going to start investing into mining operations to get that virgin Bitcoin, so there's never any confusion as to if it's actually theirs or if it was stolen or malicious from somebody else. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. You don't, dude, I don't know. I can't do this. I can't do this. Like this kind of headphone thing's weird to me. And doing the Bluetooth thing, this doesn't work properly with the Go XLR and Bluetooth. So I might just get in-ear earbuds and send this back. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Very, very strange to me. Let's see. Son of a Rabbit Panda, my advice to my 20 years old me was, when Bitcoin was still CPU mineable, mine the crap out of it instead of saying, what this stupid thing. Wait, did you know about it then, Mr. Son of a Rabbit Panda? Did you know about Bitcoin when it was CPU mineable? That's crazy, man. I'd be so mad at myself if I knew about it then and I didn't do anything about it. I'd be so pissed. I feel like virgin BTC will be worth more than traded BTC in the future. See, like, that's a good debate, actually. I'd like to talk about that with the guys tonight on Saturday Night Live. I don't think that it would matter. I mean, maybe it would. I don't know. I don't think, like, for me, I don't think it would be significant enough to really make a damn difference. I don't think it's going to be worth more or less than virgin Bitcoin versus traded Bitcoin, but I don't know. If the markets could change somehow, then maybe. Yeah. Yes, of course. I mined it myself on my computer using the same core. Aru. Let's see. What was you saying? But that's literally why we mine BTC. Watch. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat to see what you're saying. Let's see. All right. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Let's see. Could we track the first mined BTC? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. I'm not the guy to do that, though. You guys would be doing that. Let's see. Let me see. See, like, wouldn't that be something in Satoshi's wallet, though? We have, all right, well, this is a little thing here. You guys can't see that. I'm gonna blind you. Sorry, apologize. On January 3rd, 2009, the first block of the Bitcoin blockchain, also known as the Genesis block, was mined by Satoshi Nakamoto. This block contains the text, the times 03 January 2009 chancellor or brick of second bailout for banks, which has been interpreted as both a timestamp and a comment on the instability caused by fractional reserve banking. The first notable retail transaction involving physical goods was paid on May 22nd, 2010 by exchanging 10,000 mined Bitcoin for 2 pizzas delivered from a local pizza restaurant in Florida, marking May 22nd as the Bitcoin Pizza Day for crypto fans. If you guys don't know about that, that's yeah, it's kind of absurd to think about that somebody did that. But what he did was, I think he put it on Bitcoin Talk, if I'm not mistaken. He offered 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas, and somebody else purchased the 2 pizzas and delivered them directly to his house, and he sent them the Bitcoin. So I wonder if that guy that got that Bitcoin, I'm sure we could trace it. We could probably find it, but I wonder if that guy still has that Bitcoin. It's probably unlikely, but I'd be shocked if he didn't have any of it still. Back in the day when I was mining XMR instead of Bitcoin, I believe it was 2014. Oh, geez. That stinks, Eric. Well, I mean, actually, what was XMR back then? What was the price of it back then? Do you know? How do we find that out? XMR. Let me see. All time. Go to the max. Bring this back up. 2014. I was only $1. I wonder how much you were yielding. That was under $1, 40 cents, 50 cents, depending on where you're looking at. But it's, I mean, if you mined a lot of it, you're doing pretty good right now. Right? Right? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Let's see. 71 on backup. On backup. What are you saying? Hit that like. Oh, got you. Thank you, Mr. D Miners. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, hit that like button. All PCs in my facility labs were mining Bitcoin. Free power as it was sponsored by the state. Oh, I saw it. I even mined it myself for a few days, but ditched it. Oh my God. I would be so mad at myself. Are you for real? That's terrible. No, you didn't, Chris Hanley. You lying sack of shit. No, you didn't. That's terrible. Let's see. Back in the day, yeah, I already read that. I was mining XMR. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, like, I wonder, was it more efficient to mine XMR versus Bitcoin back in the day? Because they were both CPU mineable, right? I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. But, all right, guys, I'm going to see. I don't think Crypto Mikkel is even live right now. I don't think he is. I tried to redirect earlier and it didn't work. Let's see if he is now. Nope. No Crypto Mikkel today. But I do have to get out of here. I got to go do some recording. So I appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us and watching that little interview from Raoul Pal. I thought it was pretty interesting. If you guys didn't see it, go down in the description below and click on it and you can watch it over on Altcoin Daily's channel. I do think it's very important for you guys to at least hear other people's outlooks on this, and it never hurts to have more information than less, right? That's just my personal opinion. But anyways, guys, have a good day. I'm going to try to get the wife to stream with me at some point, or maybe get her on Saturday Night Live tonight. That would be nice. But yeah. Anyways, guys, have a good day. I'll catch you soon. Enjoy your weekend and peace out.